Hi everybody, I'm Gregory, the Propel candidate standing in the Welsh elections on May the 6th. I'm up at the parking there at the moment, the iconic parking there. Seen many a concert here, and it is a success for the Rhondda. I'm going to be meeting a local business lady who's got some really shocking things to say, which has a detrimental effect on business in the Rhondda. As a party, Propel, we're big on democracy, but once again you'll find that democracy is not working in the Rhondda Valley, and this has got to be really looked into. And I'm going to be walking down now to speak to Leslie, a local business lady who's actually got my respect. She's brave enough to speak up because she can see what's going on and it shouldn't be happening. So I'm going to hand over the mic now to Leslie. How are you, Leslie?
Thanks, Jeff. How are you?
Very good, thanks.
If I give you a bit of my background, I do quite a bit of voluntary work for an organisation here in Treorchy called the Rhondda Tunnel Society. Back in September, we were faced with a bill which we knew nothing about whatsoever. It was for a levy from a scheme which had been introduced in Treorchy called a bid scheme. Apparently, it's claimed that this was voted in democratically. But we, along with many other businesses on the high street here in Treorchy, weren't given the opportunity to vote. We had no information prior to the ballot and very little information since this has been implemented. Now we're faced with a bill, and this is a bill every year for the next 5 years. We don't agree with the scheme anyway, but it would have been very nice for us to have our democratic vote and to have our say. And at the end of the day, so should every other business eligible for this scheme, because it's a stealth tax. Jeff?
Can I ask you this? How many shops and businesses should have actually been allowed to vote on it?
In total, there were 110 votes that were possibly eligible to be cast. On the day of the ballot, 46 businesses turned out to vote, and out of those only 35 voted in favour of the scheme. But because that was a majority, the scheme was implemented. I don't think that's democratic.
Look, we'll never know whether it had gone through if everybody could have voted. But what I say is this: everybody who's got a business should have been given a chance. This stinks as far as I'm concerned, and we're going to look into this more deeply. But what concerns me is, Leslie, have you actually gone to anybody, maybe like Leanne Wood or Chris Bryant, and what was their response towards it?
We've contacted both parties. The Labour office were very much in favour of the scheme. They thought it was quite a wonderful idea. Weren't concerned about my concerns regarding the vote and democracy. They were just quite in favour of the scheme and willing to go with it.
Did you feel that they wasn't interested in what you had to say? And what did they say when you said about the voting with the democracy for it to go through? Did you mention that?
I mentioned everything that I've just said to you guys now. But they were quite convinced that this is a democratic scheme and it was voted in fairly.
But I must say this: if you're representing the Rhondda or you're an elected member of the public, and you say you believe in democracy, how could you possibly say this is democracy? This is another case of democracy not happening, and it's got a detrimental effect on people's lives and people's businesses. Would you say that's a fair comment?
Absolutely. Obviously we all know what happened over the last 12 months with COVID, and the majority of businesses, especially the smaller ones in Treorchy, have been closed for almost the whole of the year. They were struggling before that, and now to get extra taxes on top of what they already have to pay with business council tax and all their other overheads, this could be the straw that breaks the camel's back. And my fear is that the wonderful high street that we've got, which won the high street of the year last year, could now be under the problem of some people wanting to move premises because of the extra stealth tax.
Is there anybody else you got in touch with who been voted by the Rhondda people to represent them?
What, in terms of political parties?
Yes.
Jeff? Well, Plaid Cymru, I've contacted them.
Did you, all right, if you don't mind me asking, Did you, because Leanne Wood is the member of the Senate, did you actually have a conversation with Leanne Wood?
I wrote an email to Leanne.
Yeah.
She didn't want to commit officially on behalf of the party one way or the other. She was under the impression again that it was democratically voted in and thought that it would have got in whether they were for or against it. The one fact that I can't really understand with Plaid, they have several local councillors in Treorchy. One is a shop owner herself, who is staunch against the scheme because she could see the faults of it, and yet the other councillor, a gentleman by the name of Emyr Webster, is actually a director on the private company that has been set up now to run the scheme.
So
So I think that that's a total conflict of interest there.
Yes, I must agree with that, Leslie, and I think that's totally wrong, to be honest. And I can understand your frustration. Once again, it's something going on here, and we need to get to the bottom of this. And what I would say is this: did you actually approach me, or did I approach you?
I approached you, Jeff.
Okay, I want people to know that, and that's important.
I get frustrated that there is nobody officially in the Rhondda who is listening. And at the moment, you are the only person I've come across so far who is prepared to listen to my argument and to my view. And as far as I'm concerned politically, that's what I am looking for. I am looking for someone to listen to me, to my issues, to my problems.
And that's what we as a party are all about. And I can speak for myself on this. I think if you see my videos, I always say about improving life in the Rhondda Valley. I'm committed to the Rhondda Valley. I love the Rhondda Valley. I'm no big fancy talker, I'm no intellectual, but I don't need to be, because what I represent is what the people want. And I'm going to stand up and I'm going to make sure I get to the bottom of this. Because what we got to remember is, Treorchy didn't need this. It was voted one of the best high streets in Wales. But because of what's going on and the money they've got to pay, every penny's going to count because of the pandemic. Why change something when it's working? Once again, it's these people in power. And let's be honest about it, it's the Welsh Labour government implemented this, and it's got to be wrong. And I just hope that people watch this today and make their minds up about what we're saying. Leslie, you're more than welcome to say anything else if you want to.
I'm just very, very grateful, Jeff, for you listening. And I think that's what people need, is somebody, a representative, who at the end of the day will listen.
Thank you, Leslie.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah. No, leave it on. Leave it on. I've got to say this before I go. We say a lot about we want champions all over Wales. Now, Leslie, for me, is a champion. And it's not me saying this because I want to vote, because I know she's going to vote for me anyway. This is the type of people we need. Let's not let these people think they can ride roughshod over us. Let's stop it. And we all get together. Please, if you've got anything to say, get in touch with me. Jeff Gregory, Propel, Rhondda. I don't mind who it is. I don't mind if you're part of other political parties. If you've got something to tell me which is should not be happening in Rhondda, I will come along and see you. And if you want to keep it private, I'll respect that. But I will come along if you want to be filmed and you can talk about it, or we can have a private conversation. Whether I'm voting in or whether I'm not, we are going to be carrying on with this campaign anyway. So it's not as if that's the case where really sort of change when you get voted in. I won't. I'll be doing this whether I'm elected or whether I'm not. Thank you for your time, and thanks once again. I do appreciate it. Thank you. Right, I think I went pretty